I'm back. I know. As y'all can see, the setup is a little bit different because I'm actually starting a new series on my channel. I want to give my channel a totally different vibe, fully letting him guide us along the way on our channel. And I was sitting down and I was talking to my partner, you know, just brainstorming over different things and, you know, explaining to him on how I want to take my channel to just a completely different way, but I also still want to incorporate things that I like and that could also, you know, relate to different people, many different people in many different ways. But, you know, I was wanting to do Get Ready With Me's and where I just talk and, you know, we talk about some tips or just ways to navigate life with the Most High and so forth. And we got the idea to do a Get Ready With Me, but with a twist. We're getting ready with me for Yeshua. Yeshua is also referred to as today as Jesus. His Hebrew name is Yeshua, and that's usually the name that I like to call him. But if I'm saying Yeshua or going back and forth between Yeshua and Jesus, I'm referring to that. But yeah, so we're gonna do a Get Ready With Me today, and we're getting ready for Yeshua, and we're just gonna have a quick word. We're gonna have girl talk as we're getting ready, but of course about the kingdom. So if that's something that you were interested in, or somebody you may know may be interested in, then hang around. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. I'm gonna start with the elf brow lift, and the title of this message I would like to say is Trust in God in the process of anything and in everything, literally your entire life, you have to trust him. I feel like as believers, as Christians, you know, we say we have faith, we say we have trust in God, but when hardships or things just don't align with the way that we want them to align, we tend to lose that trust, that faith that we said that we have in God. But when everything is going good, you know, we're like not really even worried about God. I just feel like at all times you should be trusting in him, whether it's good, the bad, whatever the case may be. We have to trust in him at all times. Actually, a verse, Proverbs, coming from Proverbs chapter 3 verse 5, it actually says, trust in the Lord with all thine heart and lean not unto thine own understanding. So therefore we think we have the capacity to do things the way we want to do them, but if you notice, right, it never works out how you expect it to work out unless it's a part of God's divine plan, unless he gives you exactly those plans for it to work out the way that it should. I'm just going to give a little story. So going back to like me being in college, I am a person that likes to do a lot of things at one time. Like I really enjoy being busy. Of course, sometimes it does get very overwhelming, but I am a person that likes to stay busy. But over time, I noticed that staying busy is what used to help me kind of not think about any of my problems or any of the things that are going on, because I'm always, of course, my mind is always onto something, you know, something else. So I've always been of the faith, like I've always been literally a believer in Yeshua, but I, of course, you know, was persuaded or tempted by the ways of the world, you know, certain friends you're hanging around or certain crowds you're hanging around. Social media, of course, is a big influence on certain things. And in my generation, I'm born in 97, like we were brought up in the social media wave. So, you know, a lot of times you can easily get persuaded, you know, get caught up in these things that's going on in the worldly world. And yeah, so long story short, anyway, because I can go for a very long time, so let me get to the point. But I remember just wanting to do a lot. I wanted to do a lot. I wanted to finish school. Like, I wanted to also have a good paying job while I'm in school. Like, let's be realistic. Like, come on. I became a mom. I took a semester off that summer, but that fall, I ended up getting back in, like, to school. Taking I think I only had one class that semester after I had her. Oh, well, no, it's actually a year after that. But anyway, I used to just try to do a lot. And at this time, I wasn't as deep as I am now in my faith walk. I was nowhere near. I'm just going to say that. I would pray and, you know, believe, but I didn't have as much spiritual wisdom as I do now. I'm sorry, y'all. I had to do my brows real quick off camera because I was getting a little distracted. But yeah, so I think I left off just saying, like, I used to try to do a lot and it just didn't work out as I wanted it to. And I've now come to the understanding of rejection is protection. I mean, too, I remember wanted to, after that semester that I took off before I transitioned into getting into four-year university, I ended up getting my dental assistant license. I took one class at a college just to finish off my AA, and then I got my dental assistant license. I took a dental assistant course because, of course, the load is lighter. So and I think it was three months. I got my dental assistant, and pardon me, and it's so funny. Like, now that I look back on it, like, I'm so grateful for that, because I was actually going to school for at the time I was thinking I wanted to do nursing, but I've always wanted to be a physician, pediatrician specifically, but I've always wanted to be a physician. But over time, of course, you know, things change, and I just had this mindset of like, oh, I want to work as a nurse first, so I know how it feels to be a nurse, so that when I get in that position, like, I just know, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, you know how to treat people, but sometimes when you get to certain positions, and this is not me personally, but I just feel like I've seen people, like, I've had managers too that get into certain positions, like, they started where I was at, and then they get in a managerial position, and they start treating people a little different. And it's like, I understand, like, at the end of the day, it's a job and you gotta do, but you are no better than I. Just because you have a, you know, higher title, that does not make you a better person than me. You know what I'm saying? You're just a rank up in the company. That doesn't mean you're a rank up as a better, you know, a better person, or whatever the case may be. You're not superior. The only person that's superior is the Most High. So I feel like I was thinking like that. I don't know. I've always just thought like that. I ended up taking the dental assistant course, and I really loved it. I'm like, oh, with my daughter, like, I'm like, this is perfect work-life balance. I'm not really taking home work home with me. You know, it's more of a like 8 to 4, 9 to 5, like, or you can set up your own hours. You don't have to work every single day of the week. Of course, physicians, some of them don't really work, but you know what I'm saying? You don't have to be putting in 80 hours a week and so forth, and to make a good living, and to be home with your family, you know. So I'm like, dang, it just all worked out. I was like, wow, this would be a really good profession to go in. I never thought about being a dentist, but taking that dental assistant course is definitely what opened my eyes to doing it. But anyway, so I say that to say, so I'm in school. So now I'm like, okay, I know what I want to do, but I'm such in a rush, because now I'm like, I'm ready to get in my profession. I'm ready to do this. I'm ready to do that. Blase. And I just noticed that it got to a point, and I say like wrapping up, getting close to like my last semester. I think this was just before my last 2 semesters in college. And I was taking, yeah, this is how serious I was. Like, I was taking with the kid, remember this, okay? And I'm trying to do a little work on the side, but I was taking 16 to 18 credit hours a semester. Try to do like the little jobs at the university. I forgot exactly what the term is for that, but like little jobs at the university or whatever, right? At my school. And it was just not working out. But all while too trying to volunteer. I was trying to shadow for dental school because I knew you had to get shadowing hours, and I really was just eager to like learn more and more. I remember I also tried to work as a dental assistant. Of course that did not work because you needed to work full-time, and the hours just didn't make sense. I'm going to school full-time. There's no way I can work full-time too as well, especially with a child. A little dirty, but I'm using the, what is this, Dior Forever concealer. I love this concealer, really really good. So I'm gonna let it sit for a little bit. But yeah, I just say all this to say, y'all, I literally just tried to do so much, and God set me down. And that semester I ended up failing the class, and that was really hard for me. And I literally got I got a D. I got a D in that class, and that really kind of crushed my spirit. But at the same time, that teacher, like, literally, I got warned so many times, like, okay, like, maybe you should just let this off. I'm like, no, I could do it, thinking I could do everything, and ended up failing. So from that, like, over time, I just learned, like, I just wanted to do all this. Like, I remember getting to graduation day, and like, everything just felt heavy. This is where, like, my life literally changed, but for the good, of course. And God just told me, be patient. Like, be patient. Everything will happen according to my plan. Like, you don't have to rush everything. Like, everything, when you start to try to rush to get things done because you want them done at the time you want them done, like, you look at like everybody finishing school, or you looking at what, and that's too, comparison is a thief of joy. So stop comparing yourself to people, because I used to do that a lot, and I felt like that's where I was in this rush thing at so much. But just stop comparing yourself to people. It's not a race. Okay, it's not a race. A lot of billionaires became, and this is not even just for a money aspect, but I'm just saying, like, a lot of these people didn't become literally rich until they were 30, 40 years old. Like, you don't have to rush to get there. As long as you get there, that's all that matters. So I think I was wrapped up in just hurry up and getting into the finish line, instead of taking my time and soaking up who I was in that moment, and really developing myself, you know, along the way. And God just made it very apparent, like, you need to slow down, you need to relax. I would say that with trusting in God, there also comes patience. You got to have patience. If you don't have patience, you are going to miss out on very important lessons that God is trying to teach you along the way, because you're so in a rush to get to the finish line. You're missing out on all the important things that he's trying to teach you along the way. And also, being in a rush can delay your blessings, because you're so in a rush to get to that finish line that you're messing up along the way. You know what I'm saying? Now you're wavering. Okay, you're wavering in your faith. I forgot the Bible verse. I'm gonna see if I could pull it up. Okay, yeah, so it's Hebrews chapter 10 verse 23. It says, let us hold fast to the profession of faith without wavering. So at that time, I wasn't holding fast to my profession of faith, because I'm like, oh, if I don't finish this at this time, then this isn't gonna happen. If I don't finish this at this time, then this ain't gonna happen. And it's like, God is like, it's already written. Okay, I gave you the vision, I gave you the dream. You know what I'm saying? I gave you the thought. I already let you know that this is yours. Why are you trying to rush? It's already yours. You're going to get there when you're going to get there. Don't be in a rush. And I feel like a lot of times me being in a rush is what delayed me a lot of times. Because, again, like I said, I'm not soaking up. You're not soaking up the season that you're in when you're in a rush. Because you're so focused on, like I say, the end, instead of what's going on throughout that time. And making sure you're standing fast, consecrating yourself on God, trusting that he will get you through into whatever you need to, you know what I'm saying, get through and get to. So yeah, you gotta have patience. Patience is very much key in trusting God. A lot of times we'll say we trust in God to do everything. You know, we're happy when the blessings are overflowing. And the blessings truly never stop, because God always makes sure you have exactly what you need. Okay? You may not have what you want, but you always have exactly what you need. So Psalms 37 verse 4, it says, delight thyself also in the Lord, and he shall give thee the desires of thine heart. Trust me, God knows exactly what you want, okay? Because I feel like he gives us those desires, right? He places these things on our heart, in our minds, for us to give. Of course, you got to use discernment to make sure this is not thoughts from the enemy. If it doesn't align with his kingdom, if it's not pushing you closer to God, then it's not from him. Okay, so that's just a way to recognize if it's from God or the enemy. And the enemy I'm pertaining to is Satan. Okay, so if it's from God, it'll pull you closer to God. If it's not from God, it'll pull you further away from God. So if it's pulling you further away, then you need to be questioning, who is it coming from? Trusting God, Yahweh, it will literally change your life. And this is not me saying that lightly. It literally will. And I know walking a narrow path, I know walking righteously, guys, I would be lying if I said it was easy, because we're literally born into sin. We have so much temptation around us, and it's easy to fall susceptible to these things. I've seen preacher kids literally, still go astray. The temptation, like, we have the choice to do right and we have the choice to do wrong. I was watching a video that Myron Golden, he was talking about, and he was just like, I know I'm going off a little bit, but I just want to say this. But he was talking about how Genesis, how, of course, the Garden of Eden, where Adam and Eve ate from the tree that we were not supposed to eat from, the forbidden tree, right? And of the tree of knowledge and so forth. So, right? So he just was saying, like, people question, like, why would God put that tree there and tell them not to eat it, knowing, you know what I'm saying? Like, why would he put it there? And it's like, well, if there is no evil, how would you know what I'm saying? How would you know to do good? You have the choice to do good and to do bad. But, sometimes we go astray. We lean on our own understanding. We think we know what's best, and we end up getting caught up. We end up doing wrong. And that's what sets a lot of us back. That's what keeps a lot of us in poverty. Also passing down to our children's children, generational curses. I'm using NARS for contour. And I like to rub it like on the back of my hand. I've been doing this. Actually, this is my second time doing this. Just so I can have more control when putting it on. He uses this as well, like analogy of just like, okay, if, let's just say, I'm gonna use women. If there were 1,000 men in the world and you were the only women, like, it wouldn't be that exciting. It's just like, okay, it's there. You know what I'm saying? So if it was only good in the world, it wouldn't be that exciting to do good. You know what I'm saying? It'd be like, oh, whatever. So that's why it's good and evil, because it's even more exciting to see that you overcame, or you're not even doing these things. You're not even caught up in these things that some people are easily persuaded into doing. I'm going to blend this up. But yeah. So we have to make sure that we're not leaning on our own understanding. We're trusting God in the process. We're not falling victim to temptation, wanting to, keep up with the trends and what everybody is doing, and doing this because we think it's cool. Like, let's not fall victim to that, because that's not going to get us into the kingdom. Okay? But trusting God and leaning not onto our own understanding, and believing that he'll break us through, he'll get us through anything, that sounds a lot more like it. I mean, it's plenty of stories that we can relate to in the Bible that talks about like literally trusting God in the process. Like I just was talking about Genesis, so I'm gonna take it there. I usually do like the Estee Lauder. Oh y'all, it's so filthy, but the Estee Lauder foundation. But I think I'm gonna mix it with the e.l.f. So it's dewy, and this is for more full coverage. But this is more like a glowy, dewy. I do like this one, but I think this one is better for like more all day. But yeah, so like I was saying, Abram and his wife Sarai, remember, they were stricken in age. They were older. Like they were in their 90s. Sarai was 90 when she first had her child. They had their child. And remember, their faith wavered a little bit during this process, because instead of them waiting, remember, Sarai, wasn't it Hagar? I think it was, went to her servant and literally, said it was okay for her servant to have a child with her husband, because and allowed them to raise him, because she wanted a child so bad. And they didn't believe that God could do it. Like they were not trusting him in the process, even though he already had told them, like, I'm going to bless you with a seed, you know what I'm saying, with a child. They didn't trust God in the process, and they took it upon themselves. They leaned on their own understanding and tried to make it happen. They did, which they did end up making it happen, but it just ended up causing problems, like unnecessary problems, that could have been avoided if they would have just trust God in the process. Like he already said, I'm going to work it out. So why aren't you trusting me that I'm going to work it out? And eventually they were blessed with a child. You know what I'm saying? So it's just all really about really trusting God. And also, like I say, going back to being patient. It may not happen today. It may not happen tomorrow. But believe that God's going to make it happen. Because if he said it's going to happen, it's going to happen. Trust and believe. Same thing with Moses and leading the Israelites to the promised land. Remember, there were many times where they were, like when they came into the new land, and they were wondering, like, why are we, like, they were thirsty. They were like, you really brought us here. You give us no food. You give us, you give us no water, no nothing. Like, God, why would you take us from this place to this place and literally have us out here starving and thirsty to a land that's desolate, land that has nothing. But God, a lot of times he does these things. He still blessed the Israelites. He still gave them water. Remember, Moses went to the rock, and it was plenty of times where he was giving them food and giving them water, and making sure that their bellies was full throughout this whole process. But God don't move on our time. He moves on his timing, and his timing is always perfect. Even though at that time we may not see how perfect his timing is, but it truly is always on time. When I look back through certain situations that have happened in my life, and I'm like, it had to happen that way. And he's so miraculous. Like when you really think about it, it's like, oh my gosh, like that. You really are wonderful. So now that we have these, I still look a little crazy, y'all. Don't worry. TTP. Trust the process. I went ahead and did the other eye real quick. Just exercising that faith muscle, creating a really great environment for you and God to connect. I feel like that is really important to do, because when there come times where your faith is being tested, you know who to lean on in that moment. You know to go back, okay, I need to get in my word. And then like along the journey, like as you grow in your walk, something that I've noticed personally is that you start to recognize attacks. And sometimes too, we don't want to give the enemy too much credit, because the enemy can only do what God allows. So sometimes it's God testing to see like how faithful that we are going to be with him, right? Or to him, I'm sorry. So don't fail the test. And okay, and if you do fail, get back up and try again. Don't give up. Don't give up. Because the enemy is after our souls, guys. He's after our souls. He wants our souls. And don't fall victim to that. Keep trying. Create healthy habits. You create healthy habits, you'll see your life change drastically. Proverbs 18, chapter 18, verse 21, it says, death and life are in the power of the tongue, and they that love it shall eat the fruit thereof. So we need to be careful not only what we speak. So make sure you're speaking positivity over your day. Like, make sure you're not waking up, especially after you're spending your time with the Most High. You turn around and you say like, I don't want to go to work. I hate this job. I hate this. I don't want to do this. I'm so tired. I don't want to work out. I'm this, I'm that. And this is something too that I struggle with from time to time. So I'm telling you things that I do to help myself. And I notice, and I know when I notice that I'm doing this. So try to refrain from saying certain things, because that same job that you was, is paying the bills right now is doing what it needs to do. So if you were to lose your job today, you'll feel sick to your stomach. So be careful with what you're saying, that, I hate my job, or I hate this, or I don't want to do this, or, this is that. Just kind of look like, give it a different perspective. Switch kind of the way you say things. Like, I'm so grateful that I do have a job to wake up and go to, and soak up the season that you're in right now. Remember I told you about like seasons and how we need to be happy in every season basically that we're in. Be happy of the season that you're in. Be happy of the season where you have a job, or where you have a car, or where you have a roof over your head, because tomorrow isn't promised. Our life can look totally different. Today we're living a certain way, and tomorrow we can be living totally different. The same way that God gives it to you, he can easily take it away from you. So we just have to be very careful what we say. So I also say, just start speaking more positivity over your life. Don't be negative. Don't even try to refrain from complaining. It's a process. Learning, growing, it's all a process. So give yourself grace, give yourself time to. Don't expect to have everything like down pack, in one day or so. It definitely takes time. So be also patient with yourself. God will give you everything that you need to get there, especially when he sees you're willing, you're being diligent, you're willing, you're putting forth your best foot forward, and you're being intentional, right? Be intentional with it. Don't try to start doing, be like, oh, well, I gave it a try and it didn't work out. Like, actually be intentional too with what you're doing. Don't just be doing it, because God knows our heart. So he knows when your heart is truly into it, okay? So make sure that your heart is postured correctly towards him. Don't be lukewarm, right? Don't be lukewarm. Don't say you love the Lord and still is stuck on the world. Of course, like I say, it is a process. So take things one day at a time. But he just likes to see that you're at least trying, right? And he'll give you everything you need to get to where you need to be. Just keep him first. Continue to pray. Also, I wouldn't say, I think too, now that I've got to where I'm at in my faith journey, something that I started was fasting, spiritual fasting. And this is definitely a great way to grow your relationship with the Most High and get closer, get clarification. I think that is something too that you should implement in trusting him in this process, especially when you feel like you can't hear his voice, or you're not getting any like confirmations. You're getting, like I say, scared, kind of anxious during this, I'm gonna just say, waiting process of whatever your good idea is to fast and to pray. Alrighty guys, so that wraps up the video. I pray that you guys, I know this video was a little bit all over the place. Of course, my thoughts are, I'm just going. I'm letting the Holy Spirit move, okay? Over time, of course, that's the beauty of recording, because you get to see your growth over time, right? So I know that we're going to do nothing but progress, okay? So I pray that you guys were able to follow. I pray that you were able to learn something. Pray that something I said in this video resonated in your soul, and it either, if you're a non-believer, believer, whatever the case may be, it inspired you to move a step closer to Yeshua and building that relationship and trusting him, of course, in the process. Pass it on. Share with your friends. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I pray that we get connected and I get to see you guys again. I pray that you can come across my page at some point again, and we get to share Jesus' love, his light, and pass it on to others, okay? I have many great things that I want to do with my channel. I don't even want to say it's, of course, Yahweh, the Most High, just guiding me along this process, and I'm just trusting him in this process, being patient, standing fast, making sure I'm being obedient and diligent and sensitive, of course, to his word. Comment down below either an experience, a testimony, a prayer, something that you have that you can share and that we can talk about in the comments below, and maybe inspire someone else about how to trust God in the process. Okay, I hope you all love this video. I pray that you give me a thumbs up. I pray that you subscribe. I love you. Yeshua loves you, and I'll see you in my next video.